Hello, my name is Juan Fuertes Otoya. I'm a student at the Catholic University. I'm studying the career of electronic engineering in control and automation. This topic research number 4 is design in ARM based club RIMN cellular wireless base station. Definition. The concept of mobility is more on the more widespread in communications. This supposed great advantage because it allows you to have the service on any time, anywhere and in a much more personal way. In fact, the expansion of the use of mobile phone on the one on the process that are most changing people habits. That right in recent years has been spectacular. Is 1995, the number of users in the world market was 90 millions. The first cut are that the number of users of mobile telephony in the world of the year 2010 will be around 2 billion. ARM, formerly Advanced Risk Management, originally a RISC machine, is a 32-bit risk reduced introduction set computer architecture, and with the arrival of the its V8 A version L64-bit developed by ARM Holdings. The ARM architecture is the most widely used 32-bit and 64-bit instruction set in the units produced originally on sent by Acorn computers. For use in personal computers, the first AR-based products were the Acorn Hashimer Resolute in 1986. Video 1. This video is about cell phone antenna in CO.
Okay, here's a panel antenna. As you can see, it's about 4 feet long. I've cut the top off so we can see inside of there. And if I'm lucky, yeah, I cut the bottom. That's just the empty shell. Leaving us with an exposed open antenna. Now, I haven't seen this before. I just opened this myself too. So on this one here, you can see the frequency 1710 to 2170, 698 to 894. Now here's where the cables that go up the tower go into the two different ports. We got a negative port and a positive, negative. This is a cross polarization, and you can see it says tilt. It's because these here are electrically controlled motors that tilt the inside of the antenna. There you can see the motor itself, and as it actuates, in behind here, it actually moves this bar here up and down, adjusting inside of here how the electrical signals are sent out the front of the antenna here. This here is a normal antenna that usually runs between 700 megahertz frequency and 1900, so a high-low band. So all those panel antennas up the tower, this is what the insides of them look like. So you get the size picture, my hand in relation to it. This here is where the electrical pulses happen, right here. And as each side is charged, it creates an electromagnetic frequency that is reflected off the aluminum and radiates out away from the antenna. This being the bottom, at about 4 feet long, you get a good picture of what this looks like now.
Video 2. This video about the ARM architecture explain ARM architecture, define ARM.
ARM, previously Advanced Risk Machine, originally Acorn Risk Machine, is a family of reduced instruction set computing architectures for computer processors, configured for various environments. ARM Holdings develops the architecture and licenses it to other companies, who design their own products that implement one of those architectures, including systems on chips and systems on modules that incorporate memory, interfaces, radios, etc. It also designs cores that implement this instruction set and licenses these designs to a number of companies that incorporate those core designs into their own products. Processors that have a RISC architecture typically require fewer transistors than those with a complex instruction set computing architecture, which improves cost, power consumption, and heat dissipation. These characteristics are desirable for light, portable, battery-powered devices, including smartphones, laptops and tablet computers, and other embedded systems. For supercomputers, which consume large amounts of electricity, ARM could also be a power-efficient solution. ARM Holdings periodically releases updates to the architecture. Architecture versions ARMv3 to ARMv7 support 32-bit address space and 32-bit arithmetic. Most architectures have 32-bit fixed-length instructions. The Thumb version supports a variable length instruction set that provides both 32 and 16-bit instructions for improved code density. Some older cores can also provide hardware execution of Java bytecodes. Released in 2011, the ARMv8A architecture added support for a 64-bit address space and 64-bit arithmetic with its new 32-bit fixed-length instruction set. With over 100 billion ARM processors produced as of 2017, ARM is the most widely used instruction set architecture and the instruction set architecture produced in the largest quantity. Currently, the widely used Cortex cores, older classic cores, and specialized secure core cores variants are available for each of these to include or exclude optional capabilities.
Video number 3. This video to speak about the Cavium demos ARM based Chrome RNN application.
So, Ben, can you talk about the new smart radio head announcement you had this week?
Yes. So we have been developing small cell single chip base station on a chip to a lot of LTE small cell market, enterprise small cell, pico cell, and above. We are also using that technology to develop a smart radio head. And that smart radio head is one of the new products we announced this week. We are also using that technology in our demo here for the complete live traffic Cloud RAN demo. So in Cloud RAN, basically the mobile infrastructure is decentralized, or a big part of it is centralized. In terms of the traffic flow, we use an example of a user using a tablet trying to stream traffic or stream video from a website. So the user using a tablet is wirelessly connected to the LTE protocol to a remote radio head. So typically this would be a base station at a cell site. As a small cell, this would be a small cell base station in the cell site, which could be an office, could be in some football stadium, etc. In this case, it's a smart radio head, and it is very small. It's powered by only power over Ethernet, very low power. And the baseband processing, which is typically done by a base station, it is split between a smart remote radio head and a centralized baseband processing. So this system is typically called a Cloud RAN server. So when the traffic goes to the cell site, it is related to the centralized Cloud RAN server. In our case, it's only Ethernet, because that's a much more cost-effective way to do it. In a lot of the current trial or prototype deployment of Cloud RAN, this would have been a very expensive fiber optics because there's latency requirement of LTE. In our case, we have some smart processing here in a remote radio head, and that gives much better latency tolerance. So we can use even basic Ethernet connection or IP connection between the radio head and a centralized baseband Cloud RAN server. This Cloud RAN server is powered by KVM ThunderX ARM 64-bit processor. It is in a standard 1U factor, 19-inch standard commercial off-the-shelf server, COTS server. It is running Linux application, KVM. It's running the Cloud RAN, basically baseband processing in virtual machines. And after the RAN processing, it would be going to a mobile core in our LTE architecture.
Pros and cons. Pros. It's free, since it does not require mobile data or Wi-Fi connection, and even consumes a minimal amount of battery, which represents a great advantage over mobile apps. To these two characteristics, we can add that a cell phone with radio reception becomes a great ally in the event of disasters, as it will continue to transmit alert and important information even when his cell network goes down. Cons. The increase is cancer case on the main causes the fear worldwide that has raised concern about the possible links between our inseparable cell phones and the risks on the developing malignant tumors. Video number 4. This video to speak what is mobility station, what does mobility station mean, mobility station meaning or explanation.
A mobile station (MS) comprises all user equipment and software needed for communication with the mobile network. The term refers to the global system connected to the mobile network, that is a mobile phone or mobile computer connected using a mobile broadband adapter. This is the terminology of 2G systems like GSM. In 3G systems, a mobile station (MS) is now referred to as user equipment (A). In GSM, a mobile station consists of 4 main components. 1. Mobile termination Montana offers common functions such as radio transmission and handover, speech encoding and decoding, error detection and correction, signaling and access to the SIM. The MI code is attached to the mount. It is equivalent to the network termination of an ISP access. 2. Terminal equipment TE is any device connected to the MS offering services to the user. It does not contain any functions specific to GSM. 3. Terminal adapter TA provides access to the Montana as if it were an ISP network termination with extended capabilities. Communication between the TE and Montana over the TA takes place using AT commands. 4. Subscriber Identity Module SIM is a removable subscriber identification token storing the IMSI, a unique key shared with the mobile network operator and other data. In a mobile phone, the Montana, TA and TE are enclosed in the same case. However, the Montana and TE functions are often performed by distinct processors. The application processor serves as a TE, while the baseband processor serves as a Montana. Communication between both takes place over a bus using AT commands, which serves as a TA.
Application in telecommunication. The fundamental application is of antennas in the transmission and reception of information using electromagnetic radiation. A basic signal called a carrier uses the encode information is a high power and frequency signal capable of being emitted by the antenna. Another signal, the modulating signal, is applied to the carrier. which is responsible for transmitting the information itself or to the carrier. There are several forms of modulation. Amplitude modulation is the modulator is applied to the carrier by changing its amplitude, tracing the envelope in the signal it transmitted. Is present the problem of affecting the range of the signal. Since the power is amplitude, the sovereign will attenuate. Frequency modulation. The carrier frequency varies depending on the information to the transmitter. There are no variation in amplitude and therefore the scope does not change. Phase modulation. In this case, the information is encoded as change on the phase in the carrier signal. The encoding of information in this carrier guide right different specific application. Use applied in Ecuador. Cellular antennas contribute in maintaining a better connect Ecuador since they are device designating of emit radio wave. The transmission of this radio wave in the what's commonly known as the cellular signal that is in the higher and through the antennas, the communication of cellular or mobile phones and the access to the mobile internet possible. That's one of the technology events that you use the most on daily basis, and that has undoubtedly facilitated several daily activities in the cell phone. Cell phones have become an indispensable thing not only as means to receive and the answer calls. Now, smartphone allow you to carry on multiple activities such as internet browsing, interaction on social networks, chatting, taking photos, or recording videos. Conclusion. Telecommunications have been developing greatly in Ecuador and the world. Mobile telephony is becoming more and more indispensable for people. This company that provides telephone service need antennas to make the call process possible in such a way that arrives Charlie and precisely. Thus, the telephone companies who put more and more mobile phone antennas. And in our district, there are good number of antenna, and it is ignorance of the people, which allows the settlement for this is occurring in public place, since signs that they do not consequence of electronic web and health. Thank you.